Welcome to Behind the Muscle podcast. Today's guest is an NPC bodybuilder. Today's guest is Brandon Barrow. Brandon, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, Quinn, thanks for having me, man.
For sure, Brandon. So kind of the goal today, Brandon, like I do with some of the guests, we kind of have you guys on. We get into your full story, the normal, typical BTM podcast. But today, I kind of want to just catch up with you. I can't believe it's been, I think, probably last June or early July, maybe when we touched base before USA's. It's hard to believe it's been that long ago, but I kind of want to just get your perspective on last year's competitive season. Then I kind of want to work our way into talking about your off season, kind of what some of your goals were. I'm assuming you've probably accomplished all those goals, but we'll touch on that. And then whatever you guys are kind of gunning for this year in terms of competing, if you are, I want to touch on that. So if you don't mind, why don't you, let's talk about USA's. I know you had some really high expectations going into USA's last year when we talked. What were your thoughts about USA's for yourself personally? And then we'll talk about North Americans.
All right. So USA's, it was a great show. Stu came out, obviously, you know by now, he's won and he's on to the pro stage, which he's doing very well. So congrats to him. But so yeah, it was a good show. It was my best showing. But he just etched me out just there at the end. But USA's was great. The week going into it, you know, you always have like your hiccups here and there, travel, whatnot. Me being on the East Coast traveling to Vegas, you're always gonna run into something. But all in all, everything that happened with the judging was probably where it needed to be. There was my tan, I guess, was an issue in pre-judging, which we didn't know until I got off stage. Apparently I was way white. If you look at the pictures, you'll see that, yeah, under the lights, I was pretty white compared to everybody else. Would that have changed anything? I don't know. No matter what happened then, it's not gonna change it now. But so going forward, North Americans, obviously, we didn't have a problem with the tan then. But it was a great prep all around, great showing. The week only hiccup really was traveling. It was a 24-hour travel day, which was not supposed to happen. That was the only hiccup. Other than that, everything was smooth. Best showing I've ever had, best peak I've ever had. So really, everything went pretty well, other than, like I said, that travel mishap. But nothing they can do about that.
Now, in terms of Stuart, what do you feel like gave him maybe the edge, or what did the judges say, or what feedback did you get from people that you respect in terms of how he kind of edged you out, so to speak?
People said it was just very close. That's it. It was just close, 1 and 2. Could have went either way. And again, the tan thing keeps coming up. Like I said, judges were pretty upset about that. But like I said, we didn't know about it, so nothing I could do at the time. Now going forward, I can change that. But like I said, it was a close 1 and 2. So that's all I can say.
Okay, and then you guys later, like a month and a half later, you guys went to North Americans, if I remember correctly. You said your tan got better. How do you feel like your physique looked compared to USA's? What was your takeaway from North Americans, Brandon?
So North Americans, I'm sure you saw pictures, was not what I wanted to put on stage. We looked good the whole week, but obviously the night before, woke up, we just had a film of water, so it looks like on stage, you can see pretty clear this line of water on me. 5 days before that, before we loaded up, I was completely shredded. So it wasn't a conditioning issue, it was a water manipulation issue. But like I said, learned that going forward, that won't be an issue. I think my body was pretty tired too. It was a long prep, but it is what it is. Can't change that now. But North Americans, if I would have brought what I brought to USA's, they said I would have won the show, but I didn't. So we're going to go at it again.
Okay. Now, you said that at USA's you brought your best package to date, and as bodybuilders, you know, everybody that kind of comes on here, they say, you know, that's all that you guys can control, right? Is the physique that you bring onto stage. So overall with USA's and North Americans, obviously you said you brought your best package today again at USA's. Did you walk away with the competitive season last year, Brandon? You know, happy with everything? Obviously, I know there was probably a little bit of frustration of not getting that pro card, but when you look back at last year, what was your overall takeaway in terms of just some of that positives?
So overall takeaway, I mean, obviously, yes, the goal was to come away with my pro card and be my pro career. So that didn't happen. So yeah, that left a bad taste in my mouth, but it is what it is. Just got to keep doing what I do. So that's the goal again this year. But all in all, USA is, yes, my best package. North Americans, obviously, that was not my best package. But all in all, we'll go back to USA's. I look great, nice, full. If you go back to my other competition pictures, you can tell big difference. So very happy with that. And then by the time I got to North Americans, I think my body was tired. A lot of other variables as well. But like I said, we know what we did wrong. We'll fix it going forward. So I'm not stressing about that. We're just looking to go forward into the next show.
Cool. Okay, so when you were done with North Americans, did you take like some time off? Did you try to catch that rebound and then take some time off? Walk us through that. And then what was the game plan in terms of what were you focusing on this past off season going into this year? What were you looking to accomplish in terms of adding to your physique, so to speak?
Yeah. So after North Americans, we did capitalize on rebound. We did, I think it was 6 weeks. We did a good push, got back up into the mid 280s, put on a good amount of lean tissue there. It was really good rebound. Then from there, I went into a health phase, took a full week off from the gym, which I hadn't done in a while. So I actually felt really good. And from there, we always went to the off season. Goal of the off season was just to put on some size. I mean, I know I'm big, but a little bit more, especially in the arms, biceps, chest, and just need overall wider shoulders, mid back. So we touched on all of those. Then we brought everything up. I still want to bring the arms up a little bit. I'm having issues with some tendonitis. So once that is out of the way with my getting chiropractic work and whatnot, once that's out of the way, hopefully I'll be able to train arms even more efficiently to bring up the biceps. That's a big thing. And one thing I've been working on this off season next year to help with my waist, because my waist isn't crazy big, but it can be better. So I've been focusing on vacuums. So that's going to be one thing that helps me, and especially my front poses, well, and actually all poses, just help make my waist look a little bit smaller. So that's been an emphasis this off season as well.
Okay. Now, has your training split or training, we'll just use the word style, changed from the last time that we chatted, or is it kind of been the same throughout this entire time, Brandon?
Yeah, it has changed. My previous coach didn't do my training. I did have a trainer for a while. I let him control my training. And now that I'm with Morgan, he does everything. He does my nutrition, my training, he does everything. So now I'm following his workout routine, which is pretty elaborate. I love it. It's hard and heavy, with also it has your sarcoplasmic training in there as well. So it's been a really fun training program style that we've been doing with Morgan. And
now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I've had quite a few of Morgan's athletes on, and he's kind of like you said, it's focused on the compound movements, right? The squats, the deadlifts, and kind of just obviously going all out, but is it more of like that one all out top set? And then are you backing off? What's a little bit more of the detail of the way that Morgan kind of has you guys training?
No, you kind of nailed it. For the most part, on the big compounds is top set, whatever reps that might be, 5 to 7, 10, 13, 15, whatever it might be. And then a back all set that's going to be more reps, just to push blood. So that's a big gist of his training, but that's not all. He has, like I said, he's in depth with his training, and it's fun to follow. So it's not just that. He has a bunch of other intensifiers in there as well, cluster sets, you name it, it's in there. So it's fun.
Cool. Now, North Americans is in Pittsburgh, so I know you were out there, connecting with Morgan, because I believe that he's out there in that Pittsburgh area, right?
Correct.
Okay, so have you had a chance to go out there outside of just North Americans to train with him, or are you guys just kind of doing more of the remote stuff as of right now?
Talking about in general or right now?
Just kind of in general, have you had a chance to connect with Morgan, and has he taken you through some sessions or not yet?
So last year, 3 weeks out from USA, or 2 weeks out, it was 3 weeks out, 2.5. I went to Pittsburgh and I lived there for 2 weeks. He put me in an extended stay, so I was there for 2 weeks. He did everything with me. I would wake up with my cardio. He was there looking at me, posing. He would train me after we trained, was more posing, very hands-on. So I credit that to why my look at USA's was the best ever. So he learned my body a lot, and that's one reason, like I said, that was my best look. So yes, I was up there then for USA's. And then for North Americans, obviously North Americans is in Pitt. So I went up there. Actually, I don't know if I went up there early for that one for him to train. But regardless, yes, Morgan has put me through some training sessions, and it's been pretty hands-on. Cool.
Now, when did you guys start working together? Because I think the last time that we chatted, I know that you were having that you had that trainer that you mentioned earlier, kind of taking you through sessions. I remember that. I don't remember the coach stuff, which, we don't have to go there, but and then all of a sudden I kind of saw you in, Morgan, I think, like posting some stuff of you, and I was like, wait a minute, I didn't know he was working with Morgan. So when did you guys actually start working together? Was it during the prep of USA's? And then again, we don't have to go back to the previous coach, but what was the reason for you going with Morgan at that time?
Yes, I was in prep for USA's when I switched to Morgan. And the switch to Morgan wasn't anything really bad for my previous coach. Just needed something different. That's it in a nutshell. Just leave it at that.
Okay, cool. All right, so productive off season. What is kind of the game plan then for getting back on stage this year, if that is the game plan, Brandon?
That is the game plan. So we're not even going to mess with USA's this year. Not even risking that travel mishap again. Not worried about it. Travel fairs, So mainly we are focusing on North Americans. So what is it, 22 weeks out now? So I think next week, as long as blood work looks good, we're going to start up cycle and get everything going. And then, like I said, we're all in for North Americans.
Awesome, dude. Okay, so I'm assuming that you want to walk away with the overall at North Americans. Is that fair to say?
Absolutely.
Okay, cool, man. Now, I don't know. Some people think about this. Some people don't. Some people admit that they will think about it. Some people don't. We'll see where you take this. But let's say that you get your pro card. We're just going to say you're going to get your pro card at North Americans. Would you like to step on a pro stage this year, or no matter what, are you guys going to shut it down and just keep growing and go from there?
As of right now, just because of how long we're going to push this cycle, we're more than likely going to be one and done. If there was a pro show like right after North Americans, absolutely, we would jump in that. But I think it's 5 or 6 weeks after. I think it's Reno. So I don't think we're going to push it that much further to do another show. I think we would shut it down, just get ready, and plan for we haven't talked about this, but I'm assuming we would plan for like a mid-year 24 pro debut. In a perfect world, I mean, we might wait longer into 24. It depends. So, but no pro show this year as of yet. I would love to, but like I said, the timing just doesn't pan out that way. Okay, cool. If I did USA's, it'd probably be a little bit better, but like I said, we're not messing with USA's this year. Yeah, perfect. And it'll be nice just focusing on North Americans, because again, that's where Morgan's at. So you'll kind of hopefully get to do what you did with USA's and bring that package that you guys want. So yeah. And I can drive up there, so even easier. What's that? I can drive up there. It's a quick 3-hour drive, so it's easy. Perfect. Nice. Yes. Now, again, I want to go back to last year. I like to ask some of the guys this just to kind of get your guys' perspective. Obviously, I know that you on some level pay attention to your peers and the other top level NPC athletes. So obviously you were on stage with a lot of the guys that turned pro last year, but
Were there some guys that really, impressed you in terms of your peers that turned pro, or maybe they didn't turn pro? Maybe you've competed with them in years past, but they just brought a great package. Like anybody kind of, you were like, man, that guy really brought it. If so, who were some of those guys for you last year, Brandon?
One obviously will be Stu, because I knew he looked good, but honestly, he surprised me when he came to USA's, and obviously he beat me. So I'll give him credit where credit's due. He also so a few pros last year. We had Cole. He went pro at North Americans. No. Where did
Nationals.
Nationals? That's correct. So I'm excited to see what he does. I like Cole a lot. So it was cool to see him going pro. One that I wanted to see compete that did not was Elliot. I'm sure you know who I'm talking about, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Dermond. Yep.
Yep. I wouldn't say his name and last name say it wrong, but I'm excited to see what show he does this year if they compete. I know he had a forearm injury. So I'm excited to see what they do this year, but I'm pretty sure they are gearing up to do a show some point in time. So I'm excited to see what he does and how he looks, because he's got a pretty freaky physique. Absolutely.
Yes, he does for sure.
Yeah. Who else went pro last year? I mean, you had the guys from North Americans.
Yeah. Felixs, what did you think about Felix's physique? I know you guys obviously were on stage together. He got the overall North Americans. His shape is, I'd say to die for, right? It's kind of like the genetic thing. He has to put on a lot more size, but what'd you think about Felixs?
I mean, he won, so he looked good. Other than that, I haven't looked at him much other than what stage shots there was there. I don't follow him on Instagram or anything like that. But I mean, he brought a good package. I think he was pretty conditioned. I think that's what got him the win. So good for him. I don't know what he's doing now or what. Yeah, I'm not sure. Ryan Foster, the other one that went pro in nationals. I like his physique as well. So I'm looking to see how he goes once he puts on some size and goes for his pro debut. So I'm excited to see that as well.
Cool. Yeah, I know. I talked to Ryan after he got his pro card, and he was overall, I'd say he's probably pretty disappointed. I think he got second and got his pro card. He wasn't disappointed that he got his pro card, but he had a lot of his prep was just it was a very tough prep. He had a lot of like stomach issues and stuff. He opened up pretty candidly on this podcast and stuff, but he's got some great shape and a big dude. So I'm excited to see him too. And he's a really nice guy too, so I'm right with you there. So talk a little bit about just kind of like your online coaching and training. How's all that going? Like the business side of your life, Brandon, if you don't mind touching on that.
Yeah, everything's going really well. So the last time we talked, I was doing the same thing. I have my in-person personal training and I have my online coaching. And everything's going really well. I'm busy in the gym and I'm busy outside of the gym, usually doing my client work. So I don't do a lot of posting on Instagram these days as I used to, just because I am busy, which is it's a good thing. But I did just get a new supplement sponsor, so that's gonna make me want to post more to represent them and broadcast that. But training's going well and coaching's going well, so I have no complaints. Only thing that's different is I'm going to get my website up and going sometime soon. That way it's just a little bit more mainstream and not just through Instagram, because Instagram missing messages, stuff like that is just tedious. So I'd rather just have that main line of communications to make it a little more efficient for sure.
Sure. Okay. Now, in terms of you training clients, do you do competitors and then just kind of like Gen Pop? What does that kind of look like? And do you enjoy doing competitors if you do prep people, Brandon?
Oh, yes, I do both. So the gym that I train out of, I'm sure you've seen on Instagram, the shop gym is it's a pretty hardcore gym. So there are a good amount of competitors that train there, and I have a handful of guys that I train in person that do compete. And I also have the regular Gym Pop that's in there. Just want to look good, feel good, lose some weight, add some muscle, whatever it may be. I train everybody. But other than that, yeah. What was the other question?
Oh no, that's no, you answered it. Now, when it comes to putting competitors on stage, obviously, you know, you're a competitor yourself, but do you find a lot of satisfaction and fulfillment in helping somebody get on stage and, like, you know, bringing their best package to date? Like, just talk a little bit about that. Like, is there a little bit of a difference of, like, you bringing your best package and, like, you putting yourself on stage with your coach and the people in your corner, and then you get to have that opportunity? So is there a lot of satisfaction in that? Touch on that, Brandon.
Well, absolutely. I've learned that putting athletes on stage is very stressful because they put all their trust into you. So you got to make sure you're making the right plays, you know, right calls with food, water, whatever it may be. So what I've learned that it is, the more I do it, the more stress it puts on me, which is not a bad thing. It's just, you know, you take that athlete's stress, they don't think, you do all the thinking. And I did have a competitor doing North Americans last year, and that's when I told myself, if I'm doing a show that same weekend, I'm not going to have another person do that show. It's just better for the both of us. But yeah, it is, you know, stressful, but that's, like I said, it's a good stress. It's exciting because, you know, putting guys on stage that have never been on stage, and they do it, they kill it, they love it. That's a very rewarding feeling. So I enjoy that a lot. Then you have the ones that don't do so well. You know, you're gonna have that also. But all my guys, good attitudes, they come back stronger. So I've enjoyed getting these guys on stage and getting them better. So it's very rewarding for sure.
Cool. Now, when it comes to coaching, I mean, you've had, you know, different coaches in your competition history. So what do you like in a coach, or what do you kind of feel like makes a coach a good coach or a great coach? And then what are you trying to bring to the table for your clients as a coach? I'm sure you're trying to model some of those, you know, some of the things that you admire in coaches. You're trying to model that with your own coaching. So touch on some of those things. What makes a great coach? What are you trying to implement to make yourself the best version of yourself in terms of a coach, Brandon?
Yeah, it's a really good question. That's a lot. To go over a few of them. So what I look for in a coach, obviously, they need to be educated and know what they're doing. They've kind of been there, done that. I also like the coaches, not all, but, you know, if they're in the trenches with you, not with you, but they're still training, they still have that mindset. They are still, you know, they have that, you know, quote unquote dog in them. That is, you can admire that with somebody and with a coach. And the coaches that don't do that, that's completely fine. But like I said, I'm talking, you know, what I see in coaches. They obviously have your best interests in for you, you know, making sure you get the blood work done. I know coaches that, you know, they don't ask about blood work or anything, which is pretty crazy. So, you know, having a coach that is very, okay, we get blood work here, this isn't right, and making sure you're healthy, that is big. Because with everybody being a coach on Instagram or social media these days, not all of them are educated, and it could be bad for somebody that gets a bad coach that does not put health first. So that is probably number one. And I like to do that with my clients as well. So I'm not gonna just do anything with my client and just good luck and hope this doesn't mess up your body, your insides, whatever it may be. I'm very adamant with blood work, making sure everything, all the markers are good. That way, like I said, they're not doing anything. We're doing this as healthy as we can and not doing anything to make any health risk, especially down the road, stuff like that. I'd say health is probably the big one right now. Morgan is really big on physical health, my mobility, stretching, body work, you know, Epsom salt baths, ice baths. He's super adamant on that. And that's helped me a lot just with recovery. So I also carry that with my clients and put the big emphasis on, you know, mobility and body work, because if you're not doing that, eventually you're probably going to get an injury. If you're not going to get an injury, you're going to not be able to perform at your highest capability. So that's big. And I've noticed that with my in-person clients a lot as well.
Cool. What type of what form? You said I think you said the ice baths or something like that. But what are some of the other recovery practices that Morgan encourages you to do and you encourage your clients to do? I mean, chiropractic work, massage, stuff like that. Just touch on that.
Yeah, Morgan's really big on body work, as in get my deep tissue work done. because I do notice a big difference if I wait a little bit longer to do that. My body, like I'll just feel beat up. So I'm adamant on getting the regular body work and chiropractic work, just shoulder mobility. Obviously, I told you about my bicep and my forearm, going there, getting that worked on has helped it a ton. Any problems that I have, luckily, I have a good chiropractor that I can go to and they can fix me. Like I said, Morgan, very adamant on that. Because if I didn't have this chiropractor that I have, man, I don't know where I'd be. I've had some pretty bad things that's happened. I thought was worse than it was, that they just honestly fixed pretty easily. So very grateful for that. RX Wellness guys over here. And yeah, the ice baths are big just for inflammation, stuff like that. Epsom salt baths, that's just mainly just, you know, acute recovery. But that's things that he's staples now going forward, because if I do get lazy on it really quick, my body will tell me. So now I know that I have to keep this going, and I'll make sure that my clients do the same thing.
Talk about sleep for yourself personally. I know some of you got bigger guys have to get you know, have sleep apnea and things like that. Is that something that you have, and do you have the machine, or are you pretty good on that department?
I don't remember the last time I talked to you if I had it or not, but I do have a CPAP machine now. I had to use it a lot last year. I don't know, my body just didn't have, I don't think my body handled the weight as well then, because I just felt heavy. This time around, my body, I don't know, it just felt better with the weight. Like I didn't need the CPAP machine like I did last year. So the big thing that I've been doing is super easy, is breathe right strips on my nose. I'm sure you've probably saw that before. Putting those on before I go to bed is a game changer. It just feels like it opens up a whole nother nostril. So sleeping's better, recover better, just because I'm able to get more oxygen in that way. But if I get to a point to where I am, and also I have an elevated pillow now, it's a big change. But if I ever need to, I have the CPAP machine to go back to. Because right now I haven't had to use it, thankfully, because I do hate that thing. I can't keep it on to save my life. So yeah, but that's big. That is big.
Excellent. Awesome, man. Okay. You mentioned a sponsor. Why don't you talk about that? How did that come about? What's the name? If there's any discount codes or websites? Oh, you have it on your hat, I guess.
Yeah. So it's PN right here. Perform Nutra, okay. Built to perform. There's a gym down in Richmond called RVA Iron. The owners are two of my friends, Bobby and Brandon. They're awesome. I've known them for years. I've worked with Bobby in the past for photography. He lives where I live, and he just commutes back and forth to Richmond. But they're awesome guys. Known them for a long time. I go to the gym and train when I'm in Richmond. And then they came up with this brand, and we talked, and they brought me on. They want me to be the face of it. And it's been going great. Perform Nutra, and they have a Infinity Pump, Infinity Pre. So right now it's a Pre and a Pump, which are awesome. And yes, I do have a code. My name, Barrow, Barrow is the code. Anyone wants to use that for them. But they have a lot of good things on the horizon, a lot of plans for supplements going forward. I'm really excited to be a part of their team.
Okay. Now, are you, do you get to have a little say in some of the ingredients and maybe future supplements, or are you just kind of more of the face right now of the brand?
Right now, I'd say I'm just more of like the face. They have talked about going forward with supplements and maybe asking me some things, which I'm totally up for. But I didn't have anything to do with the pre and the pump that they came out with. But Brandon's done this before. It's not his first supplement brand, so he is really good with the ingredients, and he killed it. Him and Bobby, they're doing a really good job together. Bobby does a lot of the marketing. He's awesome. So those two together, it's going to be a really good brand.
Awesome, man. That's exciting to be a part of something like that. Okay, we're going to start wrapping up here, Brandon. I do want to ask you from the Olympia, we're going to talk a little bit about the IFBB, from the Olympia to the Arnold, you know, any standouts from your, you know, estimation? Anybody kind of surprise you? Anybody, you know, positive or negative surprises? Any of the people that you really look up to or admire? You know, talk about that from the IFBB pros.
Oh yeah, I like the Olympia. Me and my girl actually went there and watched. It was a good time. Seeing, honestly, the biggest shock was seeing Derek in person and seeing how much this dude has improved. That was awesome. Honestly, I'm super glad that Hadi won. He looked amazing. He deserved it. He's been knocking on the door. But honestly, if Derek would have won, like a lot of people, they wouldn't have. I mean, it could have been 1 and 2, but Derek looked great. Hadi looked awesome. Nick looked awesome. He came in, he made his great improvements. He had a solid third. I know Hunter didn't get what he wanted to get, but I was there to support him. He looked great. He still improved, but he obviously fell a few placings. I mean, you had Andrew that came in. Andrew looked nuts. No one knew what he was going to be like when he came here because he's new. Samson looked amazing. Which brings us to the Arnold. I thought Samson looked great. It's tough 1 and 2 for him and Nick. Nick came in even leaner than the Olympia. So that was I know that had been a tough decision for the judges, even though I think they all said Samson was a winner, but I know could have been that cut and clear. But Samson, the improvements he made was awesome. I love his physique. So I think the Arnold was judged pretty fairly. Who got third at the Arnold? Oh, Andrew, yeah. Andrew again looked great. And then, I don't know what they're gonna do with Ramy. I don't know if this is way out or what. But seeing him and Sean side by side was pretty cool to see. Sean is he's freak. So it was cool to see him up there with the open guys like that. That was cool. But I think the Arnold was a great show. In the Olympia, talking open bodybuilding was solid in my opinion.
Now, I want to touch on Samson. I want to get your perspective on him. Obviously, he's got the shape and he's got size. Now, coming up to this year's Olympia, do you think that where do you think Samson? How high do you think Samson could place from your personal perspective and opinion, Brandon?
It's a tough question, as you know. We saw the amount of progress he made from the Arnold last year to the Olympia. Now, I don't know if there's a way to duplicate that. That's insane. But nonetheless, he's gonna get better. And with his genetics and everything, like he could do very well. Now, I don't see many people beating Derek from here on going forward for a while. If Derek stays 100%, doesn't get injured, and doesn't blow up, which I don't think they have a plan to do that. Hani's going to keep him in a good spot. But I don't know, man. Derek, I don't see, he looks almost, I'm not going to say unbeatable, but man, he's got it all. And his updates he's done recently, he's looking great. So with that being said, could Samson get top 5? Absolutely. Is he going to win? Man, that'd be a big jump. But I mean, you never know. Just look what he did at the Arnold. So, yeah, I don't know, man. It's going to have to wait to see, obviously, because I have no idea what they're going to look like. But I think Samson definitely will be top 5, obviously.
Okay. Now, what do you think Derek has to do to beat Hadi? Or do you feel like maybe that's just kind of one of those things that it's just going to have to kind of run its course? Hadi will maybe hold it for another year or two, and then it'll be Derek's time. What do you think on that?
Yeah, Hadi could possibly hold it for another year or two. I mean, Hadi is not old. He's not young. He's in his prime. Derek is still pretty young. So he's got some time. And this will be his first year where he could actually train and not have to worry about getting too heavy. So what's that going to look like in a year? I have no idea. If Derek can be harder, what was it, from the front? Because one side of Derek was a little bit softer than the other, because his back side was pretty peeled. His glutes were just etched out. So if Derek can match that, it's gonna be hard to beat. But I mean, if Hadi comes in better, I mean, I could definitely see him repeating as well. I think they're gonna be the 1 and 2 though. I know Nick looks great, but it's gonna be close. But I see Derek eventually getting that number 1 spot for sure.
I think it's just kind of exciting for everybody that loves bodybuilding to see some of that new blood coming up, right? I mean,
Absolutely.
we were it was probably like maybe a 3 to 5 year period where it's just kind of like guys are kind of hanging on. It's like, and then now this last year, I feel like the doors are kind of kicked open with, the new blood guys making some moves. And I think that was kind of exciting. Would you agree with that, Brandon?
Oh, I agree. The fact that Brandon and Ronnie were 4 and 5, that's pretty big. I think they're on their way out. So next year, the top 5, I think, is going to look very, very different. So you have the top 3, then you have the other 2 that I think is also going to be some new blood. I think even Bonak looks like he might be on his way out. And these are just my opinions. Who knows? He might come back and be better than ever next year. Who knows? But you're right. I think we are seeing a passing of the torch happening right now with just generations.
Yeah. Okay. I know I asked you this when we had our first conversation last year. I'm just going to ask you again. Just probably going to be some new viewers and new listeners, Brandon. So for you, what's kind of like how far do you want to take the competitive bodybuilding thing? Obviously, get your pro card first, get that overall at North Americans, and then as an IFBB pro, what's your ultimate goal? What do you want to do before your time's up in terms of competing?
So we'll touch on the first one. My time will be up when my body tells me. Mentally, I'm just in this for the long run. So whenever my body tells me we're done, then we'll be done. So that'll be a while. I'm only 31, so we still got some time. So like I said, I'm going to take this as far as I can go. So with that being said, obviously, yes, I want to make it to the Olympia. I want to make it to the Olympia within the next, few years. And it'd be great to just be a top 5 on that stage in the next few years as well. And then just take it from there. I want to go as far as I can. If that makes me number 1, then that's what I want to do.
Cool. Love it, man. Love it. So good. All right, Brandon. Before I do a quick outro and I let you go, why don't you give us your Instagram? When can we expect the website for your training? If you have any of that information and anything else you want to leave with us, go for it. And then I'll do a quick outro and I'll let you go.
Yeah, absolutely. My main social media is just Instagram. I don't mess with anything else. So that's Barrow91. So if you guys want to follow me on there, absolutely. Now that I'm getting the prep, I'll start posting more. And the website, we're looking the next couple of months. I'm getting ready to move. So that's going to take a lot of my time and energy going forward. So next few months for the website, that'll be the idea for that. And I'm just ready to get geared back up into this prep here next week. So then things will start getting very serious. Yep.
Are you guys just moving within the state, or are you guys moving somewhere completely different?
We're actually just moving right down the road. We just need more room. We're in a 1-bedroom apartment right now. It's just not enough for me and my girlfriend. So we're gonna get a townhouse out here, and then just have some more room, and just it's just gonna be much better. Not as much stress as everything be on top of each other. So I'm very excited for that. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah. That's kind of tight quarters right now, huh?
Yeah, no kidding.
Jeez. Cool, man. All right. Well, Brandon, just want to say thanks, man, for coming on, catching us up to speed from last year's competitive season, letting us kind of know how your off season went and what your plans are for this year. Hopefully sometime, a few weeks out from North Americans, we can get you back on, talk a little shop, and then we'll hopefully get you back on after you get that pro card. Does that sound okay?
Absolutely, my man.
Cool. All right. All of you who are tuning in to another episode of Behind the Muscle podcast, I just want to say thank you so very much. If you guys have not done so already, make sure you hit that subscribe button in regards to BTM on YouTube. And then please take this episode with Brandon, share it on your Instagram stories. Make sure you tag Brandon, tag Behind the Muscle podcast, so that we know that you listened specifically to this episode and found great value in it, in which I know you did. And then finally, I will leave you all with this. Remember, behind the muscle, there's always a story. We'll catch you guys later.